Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Good morning. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. It's Wednesday. I was born on Wednesday. President Akufo-Addo was born on a Wednesday as well. And last Sunday, I was in church with Vice President Dr. Baumia and Mr. Alan Shermanting. They came to my church. There's a South African bishop that was consecrated, and they were both there. The Vice President took the microphone. The first thing he said is, "Praise the Lord." Religious tolerance is important. And that is why I want to urge all of us that it is our job and our duty as citizens of the Republic of Ghana to protect the democracy and the constitution that we have. We're seeing what is happening in the sub-region of Africa, particularly within the ECOWAS sub-region. Like Femi Falana is writing, others are writing, everybody is writing and asking for a certain kind of leadership. I don't want it to get closer because the consequences will be dire. In most African countries, there are no coups and there are no revolutions or whatever it is, but you see that people have a certain difficulty in trying to achieve for themselves what they want to achieve. So this morning, I want to encourage you, if you live around the border towns of Ghana, it is your duty to report anything fishy that you see, because we know we have porous borders. And we cannot continue to lie to ourselves that our borders are all well secured. We have porous borders. So we may send a few soldiers here, a few police people here, a few immigration and customs division of the Ghana Revenue Authority people. We may send a few national security people here and there, a few NIB people here and there. But you know that security is a shared responsibility and we must all be part of it. If you live in a border town, open your eyes, open your ears, watch, be vigilant, analyze, and report any fishy thing or suspicious thing you see to the security. That's my first issue. My second issue this morning is about the fact that UTAG is still on strike. And Danny pulled that snapshot of Adam Tutu. He's the president of the Ghana Institute of Journalism. He is not the only president who has spoken, but this morning I want to focus on his because having spoken to some students of universities, it tells you the kind of frustration they have because of the UTAG strike. This is what Adam Tutu wrote. He says, with each passing hour, each passing day, the hopes of university students across Ghana dwindles. Life is becoming increasingly difficult and time is passing us by. We need to get back to school now. He tags the president, tags GIJ SRC, tags Etanam Malik, Mr. Sessa, and he tags me as well. I feel obliged to share this because I've been asking a simple question. UTAG is on strike, yes. They declared the strike on the 10th of January, and we know that by convention there's some 21-day rule. Are we waiting for the schools to shut down? You need to speak to the students, and this is where I want the authorities to pay attention. Speak to the students. They have already depleted all the funds, or almost all that was given to them. The hostel fees, yes, they paid the hostel fees, all right. But what if the schools shut down? What happens to the hostel fees? They are eating. And there's actually nothing to learn. So I asked Adam yesterday when I saw this. I asked him, I said, how are you managing? He said, oh, at GIJ, we are deciding that we'll do some peer learning. So we are putting together, say, level 200 to teach level 100, level 300 to teach level 200, level 400 to teach level 300, and that sort of thing. You are doing group studies. And I said, that's innovative. But can every university, for example, do that? And I know that UTAG has made their demands clear. They have asked for what they want. What is government's response? Or is government in support of the NLCs, for example, saying, oh, we'll go to court? And you know, the whole fiasco of trying to go to court ex parte on your own, even when the NLC of all people should have known that there's actually a court ruling that says that you cannot go and seek an injunction ex parte. So what was the motive? An independent arbiter. When the lecturers are saying they feel oppressed and they feel discriminated against, rather, we were not asking the employer why you are not treating the employee according to the details and the agreements that you had. But it's like that. Yesterday I saw Nooks also in a press conference says, oh, both of them has taken a hard stance. Well, some UTAG members that I have engaged also tell me that, look, if we leave this thing and we get back to the classroom, we may never get it because we've been trying to chase it before 2015. We've been trying to chase it, so we will not. And so it is a pull and push upon Chintokwa. And Mr. President, I've not heard it because the last time you sent your vice president to go and talk to the lecturers, sometime in July and August, to go back to the classroom and come back to the negotiation table so that you can sort them out. That has not happened. Nobody is talking about it. Everybody is trying to make it look as if it is the lecturers who are bad people. But the lecturers are also human beings. They also have families. They also earn. And they also spend. It's painful if you go to work and all the threats about we won't pay your salary for this, we won't do this for that. And I've told you, teaching is the minutest portion of the whole equation because if you don't research, you can't teach. Any teacher that goes into the classroom without researching is a bogus teacher. If you don't research, you can't teach. So this morning, this is a Student Representative Council president telling you what's happening. He says that their life is becoming increasingly difficult. And time is passing by. I know a carpenter who spent his savings to take his daughter to level 200, because there's level 100 that's gone by. Level 200 at Legon. And it's a carpenter I know personally. Paid hostel fees, paid the school fees, you have collected the money, but nothing is happening. And she's eating day by day. And she says, we are just there. We are trying to read something on our own. What kind of mental torture are we giving to the students themselves? Or we are waiting for the schools to shut down, Mr. President. Good morning to you. And you have taught before. Forget about the fact that you say the teaching profession, for example, is not an avenue for people to make money. You said that before. I disagree with you, sir. Because I believe that any other profession, if we do it well and do it right and you are diligent and honest enough, you will make something out of it. So, Mr. President, UTAG is calling. Mr. President, UTAG is calling. Mr. President, the students who queued to vote for you, they are calling. Mr. President, hear their call. And at the beginning of the year, I said to you that I cannot dictate to you how to govern because I'm not qualified. I've not stood for a national election before. My name has not been on the ballot sheet nationally before. But I'm just saying that while I cannot tell you how to govern, I can tell you how your governance is impacting me. So good morning to you, Mr. President. Now, I've seen a series of town hall meetings that are being held, and it says town hall meeting on E-Levy. Then you have to put the artworks for me. The first one was in Eastern region. Today, another one will be happening in the Western region. Town hall meetings on E-Levy. So this happened in the Eastern region, Eastern Premier Hotel Kufridia. Finance Minister was there, Eslog Uswekufu was there, Kojo Ponkruma was there, Afenyo Makin was there, and it's heavily covered by the media. Of course, I know that the media will not do it free, so it comes at a certain cost. Now, on that occasion, for example, after we finished this one, you know that some fact-checking was done about what pertains in other places regarding the E-Levy and how much we spent and all of that. Now, he showed me the new one. There's a new one. Now, this is a new town hall meeting, 2nd February. That's today. 2nd D Youth Center, 2 p.m. It's going to happen. It has the regional minister, Kojo Ponkruma. It has Honorable Justina Marigold Asan. It has Honorable Ejapa Mesa, Bobo, my friend, MP for 2nd D. And it has Ken Oforiata as well. And it's a government town hall meeting on E-Levy alone. Now, you see that the number of media stations have increased compared to the previous one. You see, compared to the previous one. I hope that the media are doing this for free. Now, the question on my mind is that could we have, for example, held these town hall meetings earlier? Because you know these town hall meetings are as a consequence of the rejection of the minority in parliament of the passage of the legislation that will back the E-Levy. So if, regrettable as it is, the minority had not fought in parliament and that vote had not been postponed, would we have had the town hall meetings? And this is where the question comes. Your MP, does he engage you or does she engage you? We had the Christmas holidays. We had the New Year. It came to light that the finance minister failed to consult. I'm going to eat with you. I don't consult you, but I consult everybody else who is around the food. Now we are going around trying to explain to the people what E-Levy means. Let me shock you this morning. The people of Ghana understand what the E-Levy means. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. The people of Ghana understand what the E-Levy means. But the people of Ghana are telling you that they don't want the E-Levy at this time. So yes, you can go around and do the E-Levy town hall meetings. Do all the 16 regions, which I'm sure by the time you finish, you'd have actually spent maybe about half of how much the E-Levy will be able to get for you. Because when you organize this, you drink water, you bring stage, you bring light, you get a venue, you get speakers. People drive their V8s, the people fly there. Cleaners will be engaged, janitors will be engaged, ushers, PA system. All of it is money. Could we, for example, use these monies for these town hall meetings to try and pay our NAPCO people? Could we, for example, use these kind of monies to pay our national service people? Could we, for example, use these monies to pay those nurses who have not been paid? Could we, for example, use these monies to pay the teachers who went for the training and had to be paid 30 Ghana cedis and they were asked to go, and up to now, their 30 Ghana cedis each have not been given to them? The people understand E-Levy, but the people are telling you they don't want the E-Levy. And this is one of your own, the former committee chair in Parliament for Finance. And thanks to CCTV for this one. This is Dr. Esibe Eboa. Now, Esibe Eboa, for those of you who know, in the 7th Parliament, was very vocal in anything on government. I mean, he used to defend it, and he used to convince us why it was necessary. He says, E-Levy, not the solution to revenue shortfall. Go to IMF. The former Finance Committee chair. Have you seen that Mr. Kweku Kwatian has been silent on all of this? Shouldn't he have been part of the lectures that are being held? The people can see through. Marcus Ibeyawa is telling you, he says, there is nothing wrong with going to the IMF. If I was the finance minister, I would be convincing the president that it is about time we went back. The 6.9 billion E-Levy target cannot be realized. There are a lot of exemptions. In my estimation, the maximum amount we can get from the E-Levy is 5 billion. And that is less than $1 billion. So I do not think that the E-Levy is going to be a panacea to our revenue. Going to the IMF will ensure some stability, and above all, we are going to get some $3 billion. Former MP for New Jabin South, that's him. He's a former chair of the Finance Committee of Parliament. You can look for him on the internet, read about him. He is telling you to go to the IMF, but you know why? The government cannot go to the IMF because they used that to play politics in the past administration. This whole argument of there was a freeze on jobs, and which is the reason it gave an impetus for NAPCO and blah, 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 and all of that, and that we have employed more people, there's a freeze on job, all of that, is because IMF will tell you to be disciplined. And that's why we have proven not to be disciplined, because state-owned enterprises have declared 5.3 billion losses in 2020 alone. Some think that the money is not lost, but people chop the money. 5.3 billion. You are aiming for 5 billion, and you were able to lose 5.3 billion. Check the Auditor General's report. How much did you lose there? So these are key questions that the people continue to ask. And I am reminded of this day, wondering what Dr. Baumia would have said if you were in opposition. Oh, I know that Dr. Baumia would have held a conference or two or a lecture or two and spoken about why the E-Levy is a bad thing and why there's a certain incompetent Mahama in power and why a certain incorruptible Nana Akufo-Addo should be elected as president. I know he will be laughing sometimes at his own jokes. I remember very well. I just joined Media General at the time in 2016, sometime in October. I was just lacing my boots to take over and be part of the New Day team in January 2017. On that occasion, Mr. Cyril Dogbe had been the producer, who was the producer of the New Day show. And we're not hosting it here, we're hosting it in another small studio around the Studio B area. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta was sent to come and tell us. And when I say we're sent, people don't like it, but of course we don't drag people here. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, I remember, it was just around the time when he and others were sharing flyers at the ATTC area. Now, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta came, and tell you what, that day he wore white again, and when he came, there was traffic in town. So Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, of all people, who was then the boss at Data Bank, rode on a motorbike, Okada. We were here, we saw him. He was late. He came. He had a very interesting conversation with Mr. Bright Nanafo, who was the host at the time on TV3 New Day. I'll play that for you. You see, yesterday, there was an Atta Mills Memorial Heritage that was held. The late Atta Mills said something. He said, the fact that times have changed doesn't make wrong right and right wrong. Whatever it was that Mr. Ofori-Atta said then in 2016, I'll play the full 4-minute tape for you. Whatever he said then was true. Whatever he said then now is true. The problem is the admission that we have hit a certain snag and we must be humble and honest and have a candor enough to say where we are in a difficult place. That's the problem. But we are not able to admit that we are in a difficult place. We are trying to explain away the problems. So we are doing town hall meetings. I'm saying to you that by the time we finish all the 16 regions with the town hall meetings, we would have spent half the money we are expecting from E-Levy. Market. Because nobody is accounting to you how much we spend on those town hall meetings. Nobody is accounting to you. Is anybody accounting to you? Baumia speaks. He did one on digitalization. I'm sure very soon when the dust settles on E-Levy, he will come and do another one. Who is accounting to you how much is earning? And how much we spend for that? Could we, for example, have used the NCCE community centers, because every constituency has a community center. We have Information Services Department. We have the NCCE. These are structures that are provided for in our constitution, in our statutes book, and in our structure. But we always want to put a certain veneer and look flash and cash. So we are organizing town hall meeting. That is what we do to ourselves. I'm saying to you that the people understand the E-Levy. They say they don't want it. It's not the town hall meeting that will change their minds. And you see, when you say you have done something for people and you keep explaining to them what you have done for them, it means you have done nothing for them, because the people are asking, but whatever you said you have done for me, where is it? They are looking around and checking and asking. And if it takes you too many minutes to explain the issues, it means that then you are hiding something. Danny, let's wrap up. Let's go to 2016. And I'd like us to play the full length of that tape. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta talking about exchange rate, talking about fuel, talking about taxes. Same issues we are talking about today. He seemed to have had the magic wand. We gave him the authority and we have given him the job. What is the result? We'll see you tomorrow.
How do you respond to your critics who say that you don't have a message?
You know, when a government moves from 9 billion cedis worth of debt that we leave them in 2008, and by 2012 they are at 36 billion, and then by this year they are at 105 billion. How could there not be a message?
They talk about different economies.
You create
the economy of 9 billion, the economy of
no, I'm talking about billion. The debt that they incurred.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they mentioned the economy of the 9 billion. That was a small economy. Now it's a huge one. No, and so they're taking more loans.
25% of debt to GDP, and now we are talking about 72% of debt to GDP.
I see.
So you have basically no fiscal space to do anything, and that's because you think you can borrow your way out of debt, which is not possible. And therefore, the ideas of entrepreneurial creativity and really supporting businesses, not killing them with energy prices, inflation, devaluing currency. Those are the things that go to give economic freedom for people to operate. And I believe it is that we can bring back.
The currency's stability for these years, notwithstanding, you think it's a currency that's not doing well?
Well, the currency has not done well. You have
quite
seen
stable some few
It's been, yeah,
months.
I mean, these few months it has been quite stable, but you have moved from 1.2 to 4. Unless you want to forget it, but that's real. You can't brush it under the carpet. You have to accept that you came and met something and this is what you have done to it. Clearly, you don't have the competence to keep an economy that stays within a certain debt to GDP model that maintains a currency at a point in which businesses can work, that provides energy to make sure that there's productivity. I mean, the gross savings of the country has been depleted. When you run deficits of double-digit figures for about 3 years, there's no savings left. And then corporates are therefore not producing as much as they do, so they don't have savings. And individuals like you and I, you get your paycheck and it's over before you can say jack. So then there's no give, and you think that you can borrow to continue. So now interest payment now constitutes the second largest government expenditure. From 680 billion or so that you used to pay in 2008, you are now paying 10 billion. Okay, so you have created a situation in which things are difficult, where private sector is just aghast at what it should do, where productivity has shrunk, and therefore you are compelled to increase taxes. So it's just a very vicious cycle that you are in, and until you get a fresh look at it, you are stuck and derailed.
Talking about the interest payment that you mentioned, your opponents are saying that what you're paying isn't all the loans that they took, and that the interest are some of the loans that your party took when you were in power some time ago.
Well, the issue for me, Bright, is if somebody says that, saying